Hola guys, it's Tarot by Tess. Just wanted to check in with you guys, and uh, it's almost my birthday, so I wanted to make myself a birthday note. um, Also, a shout out to Moon Pie Tarot, who listed me as one of her favorite tarot readers. It was so sweet, and I was sad to let her know that I had given it up. I do miss it, you guys. I do. I'm sorry, but I'm still not going to. I was playing cards with a friend the other night, and it was just regular playing cards, which now I know are a very big temptation because you can read playing cards like tarot. And I was holding these cards and I was shuffling them like they were tarot, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I gotta stop shuffling them this way." And then I was like, "I'm just gonna lay them out in a quick Celtic cross, modified." And I was like, "Oh, hey Dan, you're getting a promotion." And I was like, he said, "Well, I am on vacation next week and my boss is going to have to do my job." So it looks like he's going to realize how much you do and you're going to get a really good promotion. And I was like, "It looks like you're very sad that I'm moving to Missouri or Missouri." I talked to somebody from Missouri on the phone and they were saying Missouri, Missouri. And I thought, really, Missouri? And you guys think Tennessee is country? Oh my goodness. But apparently, there's two pronunciations, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Missouri because that's how I had to sing it when I was in choir in middle school or high school or both, actually. Um, some kind of song across the wide Missouri, but whatever. Um, and throughout the course of playing cards with my friend, and he, this was the guy that I went to the movies with recently, and upon being done, and then a little bit throughout while we were going out, he mentioned that we were dating, and I didn't really know how to break it to him because I just thought we were going to hang out because it's what people do. And eventually I just said, "What makes you think we're dating?" I said, "Because I'm not dating anybody, so I don't know how we're dating." That was like a while back because I'm seeing a couple people. Shh. Okay. So he eventually just said he didn't really understand signals and stuff like that. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." But I'm trying to befriend him because I know he is a little on the, well, he just probably doesn't date. Okay, let's just say that. And so we were playing cards, and throughout the whole time, there were several times where he had mentioned um, in his past having been suicidal. And it's a hard topic for me because I myself have been there, and especially talking about it near my birthday, that just kind of is a little, I guess, sore maybe. But he had mentioned about 4 or 5 years ago, I went to one of his birthday parties, and he mentioned how I talked to him, and I was probably the first girl he'd ever talked to, or a person maybe even. I'm not sure, like within the school setting, because we went to high school together and middle school. Because he was a very shy kid, and I don't ever remember anything significant. But I also used to talk to him online apparently, and I don't remember. But apparently, it was like a really big deal to him. His whole family knew about it, everything. And so I was thinking, there's just little things day by day that people do that they're not going to remember, 10, 20 years from now, but they have a significant impact on people, good or bad. And that's why I just think people should be more conscious about what they're doing, what they say to people, and really what they do. That's the main thing. Or rather, sometimes what they don't say or don't do. And I know my subscribers are all awesome, so you guys probably just resonate with me, and I'm just preaching to the choir. But I thought I would mention it because he had talked about how several times he had wanted to kill himself. And I'm not going to go into why he didn't, but yeah, that was about it. And I had to send my transcripts from my college to a different Department of Education since I'm moving to a different state. And I looked and I saw my graduation date was exactly 7 years between my bachelor and my master's. And I was thinking, why did I not go back so quickly? And what I remember is I got my bachelor's actually in English because I really, really love literature and writing. I had a minor in creative writing, but I did immediately go in to graduate school for creative writing. But in the interim between graduating as an English major, just something significant had happened to me. And I kind of lost passion for everything in life, but especially reading and writing. It was just gone. And it's hard for me to talk about, as you can probably tell. But there was a period for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years even, where I could not feel emotion. And it bothered me tremendously because I'm a water sign. And that really is part of like who I am. And as I come to find out that's part of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And that was a result of something that had happened to me during the interim. And eventually it came back. And most people, it doesn't come back. Mine did. And the emotions, I mean. And it was just simply, I had opened my Bible. And I'd already been reading my Bible, but it was just one particular day I opened my Bible and it happened. And there was no, set steps or anything. And there was a period of time where I had nightmares like nightly for at least a year, maybe 6 months to a year. And my friend had mentioned he has nightmares constantly, even now. And I can't judge people on what they have PTSD from, but I do know his mother died when he was young. So there's different ways to get PTSD. And I thought, man, during that time when I had nightmares, I didn't want to sleep. In fact, when I was playing cards with him, he, I was there from like 7 at night till about 1 in the morning. Mostly because we were having fun, but I could also tell when it was time for me to leave, when I was leaving, he didn't really want me to go. And he had mentioned suicide several times. I was like, I don't want to kind of like leave him when he's talked about it so much because I feel like he might still be in that place. I don't think he's quite past it. And then again, I mean, people do have periods in their lives where they get over it, but then it comes back. When you feel like you don't want to be alive. And, but I knew if I stayed, like spent the night, because he had mentioned I could stay in his extra bedroom and all that. And I knew that that would give him the wrong impression because he had already assumed we were dating because I went to a movie with him. So I did end up leaving and I texted him like the next morning and he was fine. But I still wonder, and in his reading that I did really, really quickly and stuff, and kind of like I was sneaking, it did say he was worried that when I moved, we weren't going to talk anymore. So I was like, oh, it's so sad. It's so sweet, but it's so sad. Um, anyway, I was just saying, during your life, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, first of all, because a lot of us go through that phase. I don't really know most people who wouldn't have thought about it at some point to end your life, but make sure you take care of yourself because that's really not a solution, and nobody really wants to die. Most people want pain to go away. Like they don't know how else to make it go away. It makes me really sad thinking about it. um, but going back to my transcripts real quick before I get off here, it had been exactly 7 years between bachelor's and master's. And I thought, why was it so long? And I know I had lost, passion and all of those things, and I was just dealing with a lot. And I got married, and um, but 2.5 of those years were me going through the special education program so I could be a special education teacher, which I love. In fact, it actually keeps me very, very busy. So I don't really have time to experience some of the PTSD symptoms that I still have. And so for 4.5, 5 years, there was like this limbo period for me where I worked jobs that um, weren't really what I wanted to do. You didn't have to have any education really to work these jobs. They were jobs that were tiring, jobs that basically I was taking from other people who probably needed them when I could have gotten a different job based on my degree. And I remember thinking I didn't really think much of myself because of the things that had happened. And I really didn't care what I did. And for some reason, I'm not really sure why, on a whim, I applied to be a special educator. And I know it sounds kind of silly. It's not really a whim. I thought about it for a little bit, but to actually apply is a different story. And I was kind of pushed to urgently apply because my tests that I had taken that get you into graduate school were about to expire. And I thought, well, better now than have to retake all those tests. And so I did. I went and I got my special education master's. And I just think that's probably a lot of what helped me was because the children are awesome. It makes me cry because I'm talking about my babies, but I call them my children because they are. But my students are the best people in the entire world. No matter what school I go to, they're always the best kids. And they're kids that some people give up on and some people don't. And I'm always there to push them so that they're going to make something out of themselves. Well, even more out of themselves because they are just kids. There's not really much they can be other than who they are right now. But I try to give them that drive and the love because most of them don't have people who care about them in the same way that I know I've been cared for in my life, especially my early life. And it just has blessed me enough to take care of other people that I never really thought about suicide after having become a teacher. It's it hasn't even been a blip on my radar. But I know that my friend in particular is working a job that he may not necessarily enjoy, that he really didn't need a degree for. And so I still worry about him. But usually I would think there's got to be lots of symptoms of people who are going through hard times. Sorry, I didn't enunciate very well. And we can notice them and help people out. because in truth, we are technically in this life alone, aside from God, which I guess is a big aside. But, your friends, your family, they're not going with you to do things. They're not gonna live and die with you. So the least we can do is be kind to each other so that we feel a little less alone. And I think it's not just special education that would be what saved me. It would have to be God as well. Because it's always been such a big belief for me. Even when I lost passion for everything, that's one thing that didn't go away. And so it was one of the things I cling to. But just because you have faith in an all-powerful being doesn't mean that life is easy. And so I use special education, and I've used tarot and different things to kind of make it feel like, well, first I think it was because to make me feel like I had worth, but afterwards it was something that just fulfilled me. And I've given up tarot because it was very evident I was supposed to. And I just wanted to kind of get this message out to people because it is a holiday, and people do tend to gather together on holidays and in celebration and happiness. And sometimes people can be, I don't know, joyful on the outside, but inside it's a completely different story. And so I just check in on people, be kind to people. And for the fireworks, for people in the USA, fireworks, they're actually a bit startling, in case you didn't know. For PTSD, it wasn't always the case, but as I've kept this psychological disorder of PTSD, it's actually a brain injury, but whatever. Fireworks have become startling. In fact, yesterday I was getting out of my car and going to a store, and the city had thrown fireworks, or they had done fireworks for a celebration right behind the store I was going to. And just as I got out, they set off the final firework. Scared the shit out of me. I literally jumped. I didn't scream, thank God, because I usually do. Because I was in the middle of this parking lot. I'm sure it would have been very odd. But I literally jumped, and my heart was going 90 miles a minute. I thought I was coming out of my skin. I was like, oh, it's just a firework, And the thing is, what happened to me has nothing to do with guns or war or anything. It's just that I think it's your parasympathetic nervous system gets amped up, and it's like rerouted, and all kinds of things happen. But basically, you're hypervigilant. You're always ready. And so you startle easy, or you can. And so little things startle. So with fireworks, please do be mindful that not everybody can enjoy fireworks the same way. I love fireworks. I don't care because they celebrate my birthday, because my birthday is July 4th. And it's fucking awesome that everybody celebrates me. But just be a little bit mindful. I guess this is a mindful message, and I'm not trying to preach really. I just wanted to talk about it and kind of get with you guys. I know most of you don't see the stuff I put on my community tab, so you mostly look for videos that I make, and I thought I would make one for you. But for everybody in the United States, I won't make a video before July 4th, which is also my birthday, but happy birthday to me and happy Independence Day. And I hope everybody takes care of themselves and others. And I miss you guys, and I love you. Good luck.